Hi, Maab. Good morning. How are you doing?
I'm good, thank you for asking. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. It's really lovely to have you here. So, we're going to be talking a little bit about your experience of doing the SQE with Barbary and doing qualifying work experience and how you found the whole experience. So, let's
Okay, sure.
amazing. So, first off, can you tell me a little bit about your journey into law?
Yeah, of course. So I went to Lancaster University and I studied international law. That included an Erasmus year, which I did at the University of Bergen in Norway for 1 year. I graduated in 2018 with a 2-1, and after I graduated, I found it a little bit difficult to get paralegal experience. So, kind of worked in a call center for about 6 months just to get me that professional experience and being comfortable with speaking with clients on the phone and handling really bizarre and awkward situations. So I did that, and then I got my first paralegaling role as a case handler in a top 500 personal injury law firm in Manchester. I stayed there for almost 2 years, and then I went on to an employment law firm um, that also specialized in litigation. And then I went to another litigation law firm that specialized in class action lawsuits. I worked on the VW case. And I also studied my LPC during that time. So I did my LPC part-time for 2 years. And just as I'd finished my last LPC exam, I got my training contract with Flex Legal. And then I moved to Farnborough from Manchester and worked with BMW for a year, and now I'm currently with Next 15, and I'll be going to my next company in the next couple of weeks too.
Amazing. That's really exciting. Just talking about your QWE a little bit. You've said BMW and Next 15. How did you find that transition from going from one organization to the other?
I found actually, I think I was so zoned in on like studying that it didn't really dawn on me that I was transitioning because I had a little bit of time before I moved from BMW to Next 15. So the transition was a little bit weird because within that organization, I did like a lot of different things. So I was in seats for about a year. So I do like 3 months in commercial, 3 months in employment, and so on and so forth. So to come to a fully commercial company and have to deal with commercial contracts and agreements was a little bit difficult for me. But thankfully, the company I'm with now have a like they have a lot of playbooks, so I didn't feel like I was expected to know everything all at once. Like, what's our liability cap? What's our indemnity cap? What are we able to accept or not accept? What can we negotiate? What can we kind of say yes to? Like, what sort of commercial terms should I be looking for? What questions should I be asking the business to help me review the agreement a lot better? So, because they already have those systems in place, I was able to use that information to help me kind of complete my review. So it was a little bit difficult at first, and I definitely felt like a fish out of water. But the team have been absolutely amazing and supportive. And we have another flex trainee here, and we have a senior paralegal who's also a trainee. So I had a lot of, I guess you would say, junior support from like a trainee level, but also had a lot of senior support as well. So the transition was a bit difficult personally for me, but I would say professionally it was really smooth.
And building on that a little bit, most training contracts, the way it's structured, you're at one company, you do different seats, but fundamentally you're at the same place. So how do you feel
Yeah.
it benefited you to experience two different companies? What have you learned about the differences, the similarities?
hmm So I feel like I got to really live the best of both worlds because I got that structure where I knew which seat I will be in. But I also had kind of that flexibility that comes with in-house. And even when I did have seats, I did help out the other team. So at one point I was assisting the lawyers in my seats and assisting the other team as well with any ad hoc work they have, which I think is a pretty similar experience to trainees in private practice. So I really like it, but I would say because I'm a person who likes to know what I'm going to do. I like structure. So that part of having a structure really helped me mentally. But like now, the fact that I don't have a seat because we mainly deal with commercial contracts. I guess it's one seat within itself. So I still have that, but I love the fact that even within commercial, I could be, reviewing a data protection agreement to then reviewing an influencer agreement to a master service agreement to a simple NDA. So there's so much variety that it makes the job interesting and exciting for me.
Amazing. I think that's some really good insight that's gonna, help people that are confused about whether they should go for the training contract route or the QWE route. So that's really helpful.
Mm,
Moving on to another issue that I think is playing on a lot of people's minds is, balancing studying and working. So how have you found it to study for the SQE 1 and 2 alongside working full time? And do you have any advice
mhm.
for those who are, wondering if they can strike the balance between the two and how to go about doing that?
Yeah. So thankfully, because I did complete my LPC, I did have to study SQE 1. So I only did SQE 2. Well, I still am. Um, Maybe because I've had the experience of having to work and study for 2 years that I kind of know what to do and what not to do. But I would say my biggest advice is to set boundaries with work. I know it can be really difficult as a junior person to, say to your supervisor, sorry, can't really work past these hours, or I know it's busy, but I have to take time and I have to book in these holidays because my exams are next week, but you have to do it. Um, this might be controversial, but everyone else has completed their studies. So your supervisor, the senior partner, or whoever you're working with, they've already qualified. They don't have to sit these exams. You have to sit these exams. They can't sit it for you. So if you don't ruffle a few feathers and make a few people upset because your priority is your studies and your priority is your qualification, then you're really going to regret and shoot yourself in the foot because you're going to go into the exam thinking and feeling, well, I haven't done enough because I've been so worried about meeting all these deadlines that I haven't been able to focus on my studies. And if it means that maybe you take, half an hour lunch instead of a full lunch to complete some of your work, or speak with your other trainees or paralegals to see if they could help you. Or I would say set the tone from the very beginning. I always did this. So when I started my LPC and even my SQE2, I made it very clear with work. Friday afternoons are for my studies. If there is something urgent, I will have my laptop open and I'll keep an eye out, but my focus is my exams. Because if I don't pass my exams, I don't qualify. So then what am I going to do if I don't qualify? And so don't be afraid to set boundaries from the beginning and have those difficult conversations because it is needed. I know, work can be a lot and it is difficult, but unless you strike that balance and set the tone from the first go, it's going to be very difficult to then change things on later on when your exams are a week or two away.
Great. I think once again, really helpful advice on setting boundaries. And yeah, as you said, it's quite difficult for juniors to, pluck up the courage and do it, but you have to know what your priorities are and not be swayed. So
Yeah.
great tips there. So, talking a little bit more about QWE now, boosting accessibility to the legal profession is a key goal driving, why it was introduced. So, on a
Mm-hmm.
personal note, what made you want to pursue in-house training opportunities? And once again, what advice do you have for students who are keen to explore, the non-training contract options available, but they don't know where to start?
Yeah, to be completely honest, I after I finished my LPC, I gave myself 2 years to apply for training contracts, and then I was going to give it up because I wasn't going to spend the next 10 years of my life chasing after a training contract. It's not meant for me, it's not meant for me. Yeah, I'm going to use my law degree to help me pursue other careers because you can do that with a law degree. And that was one of the reasons why I decided to go with Flex Legal and try the in-house route because I had the option of waiting and trying the traditional route that's been done and everyone understands, what it is, or maybe taking something that's a bit more unconventional, non-traditional, very new, but I'm going to have an experience that not many other people have. that could set me apart, but also it helps me qualify because I changed my mindset from I need a training contract to I need to qualify. So whatever was going to get me to qualify, I was going to do that. So it's really about what you want to do. Yes, we all want to be working for the top law firms and work on these big deals. But but just because you didn't have a training contract with the Allen and Overys and the Clifford Chances doesn't mean you can't work for them after you qualify. After you qualify, doors will open that you didn't even know could be opening for you. And I guess like looking back now, and even when I, was just started my training contract, and I would because in-house teams work with law firms, so I was able to go and network and have training sessions with the panel of firms that we worked with, and they were so interested in what I was doing because they've never heard of a in-house training contract. So that already makes me strike a conversation with them, and now I'm building networks within their team. So if I ever am looking for a role, I could always contact them. And it also gives me a separate experience that I could bring if you are someone who wants to purely be commercial and you want to know a little bit about everything. In-house is the perfect place for you. You're not going to be a specialist, but you're going to understand a little bit of everything, and you're going to be able to do your job well. So I would say don't, have your mind so set on, I just want to train contract with a magic circle law firm, and if I don't get it, then I'm not looking for anything else. Expand your mind and expand your goal because, like I said, the goal is qualification. It's not the training contract. And for me, I wanted to qualify and I got the opportunity, and I said I might as well do it now rather than wait another 2 years and get rejected and have to look for another role.
Of course, that's really encouraging to hear that, there are other opportunities out there and opportunities that, might be a better fit for some people than a training contract.
Yeah,
So,
of course. And I mean, even with like the QWE, I'm not saying to just go with any firm or any company that isn't reputable, because you want to make sure that you're going to have enough experience to help you in your job as a newly qualified lawyer. You want to make sure that the support is there, that the structure is there. So whilst qualification is the goal, you need to make sure that the experience and the qualified working experience that you do get for yourself is going to put you in a good standing when you are going to be applying for newly qualified roles. So you just have to pick right and pick well and have discernment when you make your choices.
great, really great advice there once again. So just to finish off, you are approaching the last 6 months of your QWE now, if I'm not wrong. So
Yeah, yeah.
congratulations on that first.
Thank you very much.
And what have
Thank
you
you.
been your three main takeaways thus far?
Um, my three main takeaways. I was trying to come up with three, but I found it a bit difficult. I would say the number one thing is you're gonna make mistakes. That's just inevitable. I am a terrible perfectionist and I'm very, very hard on myself. So when I make a mistake, it literally feels like the world is ending because I hate disappointing others and disappointing myself. But I'm not a robot, I'm not ChatGPT. I will make a mistake. That's just inevitable. I just have to learn how to deal with the mistakes that I've made and the constructive criticism and not take it so personally. So that has been a huge lesson for me. I would say number two is kind of don't be too much of a control freak because I like structure and I like control. I like to know what's going to happen tomorrow, but that's just not life. And I guess, with training contracts, whether you're with a law firm who's had trainees since the 1950s or a company that just had their first trainee. There's going to be ups and downs. There's going to be situations that's outside of your control, that's outside of the company's control. And you just have to learn how to deal with that and be resilient to things not going the way that you wanted. You might have thought I'm gonna go and work for this law firm and my first seat is going to be in commercial, and within 2 months I am going to be crowned the best trainee that I've ever had. I'm not going to make any mistakes. I'm going to understand everything, and every night I'm going to listen to a podcast about commercial agreements. that's unrealistic, and things could happen in your family life, in the world, in the financial market, that can be outside of your control. So just learn how to deal with that. And I would say number three is just be kind. I'd say kindness has gotten me in a lot of good place. Like, to be kind, be charming, be personable, and because like charm is about wanting to learn about others and letting others talk about themselves more than you. So I'd say if you really wanna make a really good first impression, speak to whoever you're going to be speaking to as a person, not their title. So rather than thinking, oh, this is the partner of Clifford Chance, it could just be James. Speak to James as James. Get to know people for who they are, for their personality, for their likes and their dislikes, and be personable, be kind, because that's what people will remember about you, most likely more than the work that you did, how you made them feel. And when it comes to applying for NQ roles or other roles in the future, people will remember how you made them feel, and that could open up doors for you. So yeah, just be kind and be personable.
Yeah, really great points there. Thank you so much for your time today, and good luck with the SQE2 and with the rest of your career. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.